When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink, but I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds. I love chic branding, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. Wellness lovers, I have curated a set to make checking off all your New Year's goals a little more luxurious. Our super limited edition gold set just launched, and I made sure to fill it with coveted brands across categories like fitness, nutrition, and self-care, all for 60% off the retail value. So if you want to level up with beloved products, some of my personal favorites by Pvolve, Olaplex, Intelligence of Nature, and more for a better, brighter you in 2024, head to CURATEUR.com. That's CURATEUR.com now. Be one of the first to order, and I'll add on a free gift. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zoe, and you're listening to Climbing in Heels. This show is all about celebrating the most extraordinary superwomen who will be sharing their incredible journeys to the top, all while staying glamorous. This week, I'm so excited to chat with the wonderful and inspiring founder of Kroma Wellness, Lisa Odenweller. Lisa has a long-standing passion for health and nutrition, which originated with her superfood cafes, Beaming, you probably know them. Her new venture in Kroma is reaching and helping even more people to improve what they're putting into their bodies. They've truly figured out how to make healthy taste amazing, and her story as a single working mom is probably one of the best examples of hard work and being willing to pivot. I'm very happy to have you on. So I only know a little bit about your story, and I think it's such a great story, and I want to hear more, and I want you to share a bit with my listeners, because the thing that I get the most often is, and in fact, this morning I was doing an interview with a woman who is 57, very accomplished, and she has decided that after years of being in like biotech and finance and all this stuff, she wants to live out her dream of being a stylist. And I'm like, cool. Wow. Okay, let's talk about that. And so I love to hear the stories because there's so much grit. There are so many challenges. There's so much fear. I think for every woman that wants to be a CEO, there's 10 that don't because of the fear involved in the triumphs and the wins and the losses and failures and all the things. But I want to hear a little bit first, like how your story began. Like, where did you come? Like, where did you grow up? Like, who were you? What did you want to do? What were the dreams? And is what you're doing now anything closer to your path? Just go.
Yeah. I always love that question because I think any of us that like as creators, like when we look back, there were pebbles along the way that led us to where we ended up. Mm-hmm. Right. And sometimes the pebbles, had a little nudge. Sometimes they were like hitting you over the head. And in one moment you're like, oh, that's it. And
sometimes they were thrown at you.
And you had no choice. And, there's a lot of things that happen along the way, but there's something usually, there's catalysts on the way. And if I think back to my childhood and growing up in a really healthy family where we had no junk food. My parents
healthy, literally, not just like a loving family in like the healthy family, but like literally like
healthy.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Colorado Springs.
Got it.
My dad, my stepdad, my grandfather were all in the Air Force.
Got it.
And so very wholesome, but also just really, really healthy before healthy was a thing.
Right.
Because I'm you mentioned age earlier. I'm about to turn 53. So this is way back before
it was cool to be healthy.
Which was cool, right? And it was the day of Twinkies and Ding Dongs and Fruit Loops, which are still around.
I know. Well, my kids. It's like that. It's like their eyes light up. Like my friend mom was eating Apple Jacks, and I'm like, you're not.
Still around. Oh my God.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They really are.
Frosted Flakes and the whole thing. We didn't have them at my house, so we were like sort of the lame family because And so if you wanted junk food, you had to go to a friend's house.
Totally. Same.
But my parents exercised every day. And then I always love to share, like, my grandfather who passed at 95, but he was so vibrant and so strong. And so I grew up watching not only my parents, but my grandparents exercising every day. My grandfather, up until the age of 90, was doing 1,000 push-ups and sit-ups a day. Crazy.
Wow.
I mean, and he used to joke that he was going to, he moved into a kind of older person's home, and he said, I'm probably going to die in the stairwell because I'm the only person that actually takes the stairs and no one's going to find me. And so it was just sort of ingrained in me from the beginning to make health a priority.
Interesting. Because you could have gone the other way. Like, very often my sister and I, my family, they wouldn't let us, they had some junk, but very little, definitely the least of all of our friends. So when I slept at a friend's house, it was like the floodgates opened. It was like every sugar cereal, every Twinkie, as you said, the whole thing, because I couldn't have it. So it's amazing that it actually like made you it inspired you to stay that way.
So funny that you say that. So yes, there's a rebellious aspect to it that my 20-year-old and 18-year-old boys are rebellious to their very healthy mother. So they come home and and I'm like embarrassed to say this publicly, but they'll come home with their Chick-fil-A and their McDonald's.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
and you want to die. I know. I
want to die. And I'm like, please don't let anyone see that you're doing that. And so there is a rebellious side.
You're like sprinkling Kroma on top of the McDonald's.
Although now, because of TikTok, they're like, Mom, I want to take ashwagandha. I want to take lion's mane. And I was like, I knew at some point this would work. Like at some point I would like still trade in. And now they're taking like colostrum and like I'm putting them there because it's also becoming cool.
Of course.
But you can't force it. So back to your point.
Yeah.
For me, there was something underlying in why I think I didn't go rebellious, which was as a little girl, I always had this sense of wanting to feel empowered with my health, which is sort of a funny thing to say as an adult.
It is.
Why, as a girl, did I? And it was, for me, it was a fear. I didn't want to go to the doctor and get bad news. And
it's a valid fear.
It was a fear. And I think we all to some extent have that fear. And I didn't understand what to do with it, but I knew I had this conscious idea of, I want to be healthy. I want to take care of my body, even since I was little.
That's amazing, by the way.
Which is amazing. I think that was just DNA. I don't know what it was. Because it wasn't like we were having those conversations at home.
Right.
Outside of the lifestyle of it.
Sure.
So, but now it took me till I was 40 to actually make wellness my life mission. But so as a young girl, I wanted to be a movie star. Like I wanted to be a veterinarian,
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So what were did you go to college? Like what were you working since you were a teen? Like what was the path to get to here?
So I'm told that I was very driven.
Imagine.
And I think I might still have the records for most push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups at the grade school, the elementary school. 10 years ago, I still had the record. So I think, there was always this side of, just being very driven. My parents said that I never liked the word no. And so I would always find a way to get to yes.
Same.
Right. So
Same.
Very entrepreneurial characteristics, even if we didn't understand it at the time.
No, definitely had no idea, but that's what my dad said.
That's a powerful one too, because, for me, no has always meant, let me find a different way.
Same. Let me figure out how to make this a yes. I can't really accept no.
Yeah. Especially if it's like, no, this is supposed to be a yes. Like this is not we're going to get to a yes somehow, some way. Yes. Right. And I think those are things that are just, there's certain ones of us that are literally born with that. Yes. And there's a skill in that. That's more than, manipulation, but it's actually intention.
Yes.
It's like belief is so strong that you see something that maybe somebody else doesn't, and you've got to figure out a way to get everybody there.
Yeah. It's the challenge, I think. It's the challenge of like, I believe in this so heavily that I'm going to tell you why this is a yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So then, growing up in Colorado Springs, then I went to live with my dad in high school because he lived in Scottsdale, and I
Mhm.
thought Scottsdale was a lot more happening than Colorado Springs, and it
Was
was,
it?
and
Okay.
very much so. I've always been more of that like city girl,
Yeah.
good food, like
Mhm.
like I wanted
Culture.
flash,
Mhm.
culture. I liked, and so that led me then to end up going to school in Dallas at SMU for a year and a half
Got it.
when it wasn't a popular thing to do for the West Coast folks. Now
Mhm.
everyone from the West Coast goes there, but
I
at the
know.
time,
They really
I was
do.
one of the few people from the West Coast. I was a fish out of water. I thought I wanted to just marry a Southern boy,
Mhm.
and that's why I went there. Was I should go to school in the South and
Right.
a cute Southern boy.
And how did that
And
go?
not so well. Didn't end up happening. Although
Okay.
I still the Southern boys with the accents, but that never went away. I just still haven't met him yet. But so, but it was before my like really driven. Like I was super driven in high school. I was like the prom queen, like that, all the things that were like very driven
Set
and
you
like
up for your future of
wise.
who you're gonna be.
Wanted to be a leader, and then I went through this period of like, I just want to go get married, which was my SMU stage,
Mhm.
and that was sort of where I dipped out of this hard driving, like accomplished thing, and then I swung the other way, and I left SMU after a year and a half. I did semester at sea,
Mhm.
which best experience of my life, being on a boat around the world with 400 people my age.
Wow.
Then and saw the world and got to see the world, the third world
Mhm.
view of lens, because we weren't staying at the Four Seasons. We
Right.
were like we're on
Right.
a boat, college
The
student,
real world. Right.
the real world, and you're working in an orphanage in India,
Mhm.
or you're going on safari and being with in the Serengeti with the Maasai tribe,
Mhm.
or getting to Japan and realizing you can't afford to stay in a hotel, so you have to rent. This is embarrassing to say, but we'd have to rent a love hotel by the
Mhm.
hour
Mhm.
to get 6 hours of sleep, which
Mhm.
is our only thing we could afford.
Right.
So by
Isn't that
doing that,
incredible? Mhm.
so
Like,
cool.
looking
And
back, you're probably like, "That changed the trajectory of my life and who I
it
was."
completely changed it, which is why I mention it, because it was the first time I really got to see the world
Mhm.
in from that lens, and came to a point of like really wanting to make a difference in the world. And that was sort of one of those, another one of those pebbles along the way.
Yep.
So then I transferred to Boulder. And when I got to Boulder, it was all about, now I'm so inspired. Now I'm going to go change the world.
Mhm.
And when I got to Boulder, and it's a really cool school. And I
Yeah.
kind of missed, I was a junior by that point. So I sort of missed the moment of like party. And
Yeah.
now I was all about, like, how am I going to go create a career
Sure.
and really make something of myself? And I remember my dad saying to me, in college, the day I graduate, you're on your own
Mhm.
financially,
Mhm.
and there's no
Terrifying.
more cars, gas,
Sure.
health insurance, and I was horrified and terrified, but also one of the best gifts, because it made me so driven
Mhm.
to make sure I could take care of myself. And so then I taught a business class. I had multiple internships. I put myself out there to do what I was terrified of, and most of us are, was to speak. And it's such an interesting thing for me to reflect on now, because I would sign up to speak in front of 700 students.
Mhm.
Mind you, I'm 21 years old.
Right.
And these, major executives in this really cool class that they did at the University of Colorado. And I was so scared of doing it. I was so committed to figuring out how to become confident on stage.
It's the most
And
important skill.
it's so important. And I think back to that now and how that has served me in my career, because of having to break through,
Mhm.
that fear, being able to find a way to find, like, just to even be able to hold space on a
Of
stage,
course.
or in front of a leader or a CEO or whatever that might be. And I think
Yep.
that really has served me in my career. Now, funny and ironically, my first job out of college was with Nestle, selling chili and cheese sauce and country sauce gravy. So, so, and the funny part is, I thought I was going to be planning parties. I had no idea I was going to be driving a red van that filled with like cans of unhealthy food, trying to get like prisons, hospitals, schools, and Marie Callender's to buy my food. I was horrified.
I'm dead.
It was so
Yeah,
hard.
but like as you said, pebble. It's a
It was
pebble.
it was a pebble.
It's a
Oh, so here's
pebble.
the cool part. So I did, again, another pebble. So because I was so horrified that I was selling all this really unhealthy food, I decided that we had these products at Nestle that there was sauces. And I'm like, I'm going to create healthy food with these sauces. And I would stay up all night and I would create pasta salads and pasta sauces and salad dressings. And I created a cookbook. And then I went and presented that to the top salad bar chain in the country because I wanted to sell products that were healthy. And I created a whole cookbook to keep these products, to make these products, sellable.
Really?
So again, funny thing along the way, because I still hadn't been hit over the head yet. Like, this is actually what we're going to go do.
Sure.
And it's funny too, like, just to backtrack a little bit. In high school, I was the girl that was always making chocolate chip cookies for the football players, but I was making them healthy. And like, it's so weird. Like, how did that happen then? I was like using applesauce and prunes, these poor football players, but like, so I was like making these healthy chocolate chip cookies mostly because I was eating all the batter. And so I needed to like have
You're like, I'm so hungry. Oh my God.
Come on, everyone loves cookie dough.
Oh
So I was like, I better
God.
figure out a way to make it healthier. And then I would make smoothies and and put a bunch of healthy stuff in it, which that was way before like smoothies were a thing.
Right.
I don't know. All these things were sort of just building. And then I always exercised my entire life. And if anyone ever wants to laugh, I don't even know if you've seen this. You can go to my Instagram and see me jump roping because I was the state jump roping champ in Colorado in 3rd and 4th grade. And I can still do all the tricks. So if you want to laugh your ass off, go see as an adult 52-year-old woman.
That is really impressive, by the way.
Very funny. 360s with my arm under my leg.
Actually.
Oh, no, this is real. This is not just like jumping rope. This is like when I busted this out and nobody knew that I could do this. I mean, people died. It was really funny because you don't expect I can do that.
It's weird. So impressive. It's so impressive. But you clearly have to do the like endorphin thing. Like you actually need that. Do you remember when you said to me, "Oh, are you in New York? I have this amazing workout class." And I'm like, yes, except I don't work out. That sounds so amazing. But like, do work out for me. You're like, huh? Like what? Because
you were so funny.
I dream about it. I dream about having a regular cadence to it. It's another intention that I'm manifesting for 2024. That's my 2024. I'm going to try the manifesting thing.
Manifest exercise.
I think I have to, though. I have to manifest that I can get on this like regular schedule where I'm wanting and needing to exercise.
I think
can I manifest that? No,
I don't think
it's an intention.
You have to find something that you really like doing. I mean, for me,
I like yoga. I like yoga.
Yeah. So if you like that, because you're not going to do something that you don't like.
No, I mean, I'm a Virgo. We don't do anything we don't like.
This morning I did the Peloton. And it's not because I love it, but I love how I feel. Right. You're not going to do it.
No.
So you have to do something that lights you up. I mean, for me, and the class that I invited you to was going to Kristen Sadukis' class at Forward Space. My favorite thing in the world is to dance. And so I go to her class and I can do it all day long. I mean, I think I have a dream of being in Dancing with Stars someday. Like I could just dance all day if I actually could dance all day. So it's not that for me is an exercise. That's play. And that's what you have to find is play.
So I have a question. So along the way, guy, no guy, marriage, no marriage, because you have 2 children.
I have 3 children.
3 children. I think you had 2 boys. So you have 3 children. All boys?
My daughter who's turning 26.
Okay.
Who works for Kroma and is my best friend. And we have probably my favorite thing about Kroma outside of just the impact we've made is, and I love what we do and the things I get to do, but getting to work with my daughter
is the dream.
And she's been doing it. She's been working with me since she was 13. When we started our last wellness company, Beaming.
Amazing.
So it's been really cool. So I was married for 13 years.
Okay.
And I'll give you kind of the uncensored version. I was 26 living in San Francisco.
Okay.
And he and I had been roommates, and then we just started to date, and we were new in dating, and we got pregnant. And this was before Hollywood or anyone, made it a cool thing or even acceptable. And
to have children before being married. Right.
Yeah. No, that was
right.
was very, it was like almost, it was not a good thing.
Yeah.
And it was a moment of truth and certainly a life-changing moment for both he and I, his name's Mark, to make this decision that we're gonna do this.
Mhm.
And, we were scared to death. We were
Mhm.
babies. We were
Mhm.
26, living in San Francisco. No one was married, let alone having babies.
Mhm.
And we did it. And, it sort of threw me into motherhood at a much younger age than I
Mhm.
ever imagined.
Mhm.
I joke and say that if I was walking down the street and there was a stroller with a baby and a dog and a cat, I would pay a lot more attention to the dog and the cat than
Sure.
the baby. I was
Sure.
never the girl that babysat.
Sure.
And so it wasn't like I was dreaming of babies, and it just happened. This
Listen,
was
you're
like,
talking to someone who did it as late as I possibly could. But yes.
and that's what I thought my plan was gonna
Sure.
be. And then, of course, we laugh
Sure.
because, you know,
We make
there's
plans and God laughs. Yes.
and God laughs. So that was one of the moments. And there's a lot more behind that story, but he and I moved forward with that. Obviously, the best thing that ever happened to me on so many levels was having my daughter. And I think you can attest to this. Like, as a parent, there's nothing like becoming a parent to learn selflessness, to learn love on a level that you can't even
It's
imagine.
inhuman. It's not human. It's like I don't even it's indescribable.
It's indescribable. And forgiveness, because you
Sure.
realize how hard parenting is. And
I think
a
everything goes out the window. I'm pretty sure that everything you ever thought about how to handle anything or how to be or how to like, my schedule, my plan, my this, my that. It's like your love of your child so far exceeds any of that that it all kind of just goes and you just start to navigate this just so differently. You're just kind of like driving, you're like, "Ah."
and and you're not perfect,
No.
and you're making mistakes,
Oh.
and then you have forgiveness for your parents who maybe
Yeah.
didn't show up
Yes.
right for you, and you're
Yes.
like, "Oh, now I get it," right? I mean,
Yes.
there's nothing like parenting, parenthood to, and I found a peace within me that I don't think I ever knew or
Mhm.
understood in becoming a mother. And also,
Certainly not
again,
at 26. I mean, at 26, you're like
26,
living for yourself and your career and like, what do I need? How do I survive? How much money am I making? Where am I
it was so
living?
scary.
Yeah,
Oh my God, it was
I
so
mean,
scary.
it's
My
terrifying.
daughter's turning 26, and I was like, I was that age?
Can
Like,
you
how?
even imagine? It's wild.
No.
I look at my niece now as 23 and I realize my sister had her around that age, like maybe like 25. And I'm like, at 25, I was like on the floor of my apartment crying, like, what's the next move of my life? How my money and, it's just like everything. Everything is terrifying at 25.
And then I guess it also goes to show in life, like, we're pretty resilient.
Yeah,
We can we will show up for whatever shows up for
of
us,
course. Well, as
and
women, for sure.
have to, like, for women especially. Yeah, I can't say that my ex-husband
Right.
showed say
They can peace out whenever they want.
yeah.
I don't want to say all. I want to say generally speaking.
Well, especially if it's not like in this particular case, neither one of us were mature enough to
Sure.
really be in that place. I would like to say I probably had a lot more maturity than he did. But it became, one of our biggest teachers and my biggest teacher. And I think through the 13 years of marriage, we did have two more kids.
Hmm.
We divorced amicably. And I reflect, he actually just got married to his second wife about a couple weeks
Hmm.
ago. And I've always, for me, I'm very introspective.
Hmm.
So through the divorce, I really spent a lot of time thinking about, what was my role
Hmm.
in divorce? Because we didn't fight, which wasn't necessarily a good thing. Because I think
Right.
sometimes you need passion,
Hmm.
and can be fighting, which
Hmm.
is communication.
Hmm.
Part of our problem was we didn't have enough passion and communication.
Hmm. I think that's
So,
most people. I think that's the
and
glitch in the system.
yeah, yeah, and so we sort of were dead walking. And he's a great guy in many ways. I don't think we were great together at the
Hmm.
time, but we were so young, we didn't have the tools.
Sure.
So fast forward, I was a single mom,
Also
uh,
terrifying.
and which I think back to what I've done over the last 12 years since I've been single and starting two companies as a single mom, as a single woman.
Hmm.
And that I don't it's this has been a very reflective year for me. We were talking earlier about
Yeah.
2023.
Yep.
This It's been a very reflective, very healing, but also honoring year
Mm-hmm.
for me. Because I really stopped to think back to what it was like for me with 3 little kids, no money, and
It's
starting my last one is
terrifying.
terrifying.
It's just terrifying. And you're
It
alone and it's scary and you're responsible for these little humans and also responsible for yourself. And you have no one to like lean on in those fearful moments. You know, you have your friends, of course, and, you know, family and whatever, but it's like you don't have a partner.
There's no one to give you a hug at
Yeah.
the end of the day
Yeah.
and say, "How was your day?"
Right.
There's no shoulder to cry on when you've had a bad day.
Or when the
There's
kids have had a bad day.
kids have had a bad day because 'cause you've gotta show up fully for them, like, there's no one to have dinner, like, pick
No,
up dinner. Like,
no.
it's all on you, and I don't think I gave myself enough, just acknowledgement and respect for
You
how hard
wouldn't.
it was.
You
Mm-mm.
wouldn't because in the moment, I can tell you, in the moment, it's survival, right? In the moment, you're like, this is my life. I live for my children. I'm working. I love my job, but my children, my children, my children, my children. And now I think you're, you're an age and a point in your life and your children are grown where like, fuck, you're like, I've done that. Like hey,
Mhm.
like look at these amazing humans and look what I've built. And I cannot in looking back probably be like, how did I do this? I don't think I realized I was doing this in the moment. But that goes to my earlier point that like women in general, and I think single working moms, just really single moms in general, but single working moms is like, it's a
It's
whole nother
it's a hard
loaded
you also
job.
carry guilt,
Of
and I think
course.
as parents, we
Of
carry
course.
and women, mothers, we really
Yes.
carry a but the amount of guilt I wrote about this on Mother's Day, I think this past year, and I was thinking about all the as mothers, we spend so much time. My kids were all leaving, so it's like I was about to become an empty nester, and I went through this whole spin cycle of all the moments I missed
Hmm.
because I had these very fast growing companies, which is wonderful and
Yeah.
exciting. With that came all the sacrifice
Of
of
course.
the football game I missed, the
Of
soccer game
course.
I missed, the play that I missed, the moment that I didn't get on the floor and play
Hmm.
Legos. I wanted to play Legos. And I went through this period of time where I was in so much anxiousness around
The guilt.
this guilt.
Hmm.
And then I thought, my
It's a
God,
plague.
wait, it is a thing. I thought, what if I focus on all that I did do and how I've shown up?
Sure.
But
Your
as
kids
women,
don't care. Like, they're
no,
not like, Mom, you missed my school play. Like, they're like, Mom, you're freaking awesome. You're fucking badass. Like, I guarantee you that your kids think that. I guarantee you.
and I can't say that they like my daughter, yes, because we're besties. But my boys, it wasn't until I read their, essays
Hmm.
that they would come out and say how in awe they were of me, or how proud they were of me, or how much they've learned from me. And then you get that, and you're like, okay, there's almost nothing better, right?
Yeah.
Like to know
Nothing.
that oh, okay, even though I missed some of these things, they still felt loved.
Yep.
They saw how hard I was working for them, and maybe they couldn't communicate that to me verbally, but in their essays for school or college or whatever it was, that's where it would come out. And
Hmm.
those are those moments as a
You're like,
parent
oh my
where
God, I didn't fuck this up. Oh my God, I did something right. Oh my God.
and there's something else, just to add to this too, because this was something that I learned, and I think this is such an important thing as a parent. It's a little bit of a sidetrack, but one of the things that was really important to me with my kids, because we do fuck up,
Yeah.
and I would bring up to my kids, and they kind of would laugh at me. I was like, "Do you remember the time you asked me to play Legos and I didn't?" And they're looking at me like, "No." And I'm like, "Well, I'm really sorry." And they're like, "Oh,
You were
don't."
like, you were like repenting. You were
And then
literally repenting.
I'd be like having a dinner. I'm like, "Okay, guys, how do you think your childhood was? Like on a scale from 1 to 10." But my point is, I've tried to create a space of open communication with my children so that they could come to me and say, Mom, this really hurt me. Like,
Right.
and that we could talk about it, and they knew that it was safe
Yeah.
to do that. And so what that's also cultivated with us is they tell me everything,
Yeah.
even what I don't want to see or
Yeah,
hear. And
sure.
it's drugs, sex, anything.
Yeah. But
They
that's the
tell me
best. It's what you want.
everything.
It's what you want.
And that I cherish that relationship with them.
Yeah. That's the
So
dream.
It's, I think part of it was just because of my own childhood and not feeling like I could talk to my parents about
Different generation. We couldn't tell our parents anything.
it is, right? But I still can't. I still can't say like, "Oh,
No.
remember when?"
God,
I mean,
no. Roger
you
goes
can't.
to like hold my hand or kiss me in front of my parents. I'm like, like, my dad's here. No. It's
That's
just
so funny.
generational. It's like a totally different thing. Our
So
kids are our best friends now. But
they are.
it's finding that line. And I think to your point, I really do believe that the single mother thing not only helps to shape who you are, but it really shapes who they are. And I think in particular your daughter.
Yeah.
I think there's such, as we get older, I think this, and especially when you become a mother, you're like, how on God's given earth did my mom do that? How did my
Yeah.
mom do that? Like, I think how hard I struggle between the balance and never wanting to leave my kids and never wanting to miss anything, whatever. And then I think about my sister. I'm like, how the hell did she do this? How did
Mhm.
she do this? Like, literally. And it's like even dumb things like lifting, my 100-pound suitcases when I travel. And like Roger will just come in and like, even in moments where I want to like hit him with a frying pan because I'm mad at him, he'll still schlep my stuff. You know what I mean? And I'll be like, Pamela, who
Of
schleps your
course.
stuff? She's like, I schlep my stuff.
Mhm.
Like, and I think, but I do think that makes you even better and more of a badass. And I think that's the thing. You're not reliant on people in that way. When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cap is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more.
My dad works in B2B marketing, but I never really knew what that meant. Then one day my dad came by my school for career day and told everyone in my class he was a big MQL man. Then he just kept saying things like, the more MQLs the better, over and over. My friends still laugh at me to this day. I think it means marketing qualified lead. One thing's for sure, I'll be known as the MQL man's kid for the rest of my days. Why couldn't you just be a fireman or a lawyer? Why? You ruined my life, Dad.
Not everyone gets B2B, but LinkedIn has the people who do. And with ads on LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people based on job title, industry, likelihood to buy, and more. Start converting your B2B audience into high-quality leads today. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/customer to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/customer. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So, buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete without costs spiraling out of control? It's time to upgrade to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8x8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/strategic. That's oracle.com/strategic. oracle.com/strategic.
When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cap is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. When it comes to living life, there's a lot to overthink. Like most working moms, I am constantly juggling my work and my family life, and sometimes all that decision making is truly exhausting. But at least I don't ever have to overthink my water. I've been drinking Smart Water for many, many years and truly love its pure, crisp taste. It's vapor distilled through a process inspired by clouds and has added electrolytes for taste. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, every morning, is head down to my kitchen to drink water. Hydrating with Smart Water is my favorite way to start the day, and making that simple choice is such a refreshing change of pace from the whirlwind of my life. Starting my day by focusing on myself and my health is so important to me. I'm always a lover of chic branding and packaging, and Smart Water's sleek bottle shape makes it the perfect accessory for any day bag, workout tote, or backpack. I absolutely love how the rounded bottle fits perfectly into my kids' side pockets for school or camp. Smart Water even looks chic displayed on any counter or vanity in my house. As most moms know, it can be tricky to get kids to drink enough water, but my boys absolutely love the taste of Smart Water, and the sports cap is great for their very, very active days. Smart Water is the smart way to hydrate no matter what you have going on in your life. Life is full of choices. Smart Water is a simple one. Visit drinksmartwater.com to learn more. But I am curious now, as you've started Kroma, so Kroma is how many years now? 3?
We launched just over 2 years ago.
2 years. Okay.
So I guess 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. So still new. I mean, it was a good
baby.
4+ years in the making, 5 years in the making. Because when I left my last wellness company, Beaming, and I had created a group. Beaming was amazing.
Beaming was amazing.
And it was, the superfood cafes all over LA and San Diego.
Yep.
I grew it to 10. Amazing brand, amazing food. I mean, everyone loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I made some big entrepreneurial mistakes, including not having the word, and some other, not having a strong lawyer, and other things that ultimately cost me the company, which was a really devastating, especially because this, again, I'm a single mom. I've taken the little bit of money I had in divorce. I've put it all into Beaming, lost everything financially.
Oh.
And this is after, and Beaming.
And how old were your kids at this point?
Well, so I opened the first Beaming December 2012. And so they were, 7,
Right.
8, something like this, 13.
Pivotal
And
years.
then when I was building Beaming, and then when I lost it, I would say that was in 2017, or when I had to walk away. And that was tragic for me. Also because I was so passionate and we were changing so many lives that I was like, no, this has to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't you see the good that we're doing? But it was the best thing that ever happened to me, honestly, outside of having my kids, because it was incredibly humbling.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go through, I went to Hoffman. I went through all the deep soul searching of how did I get here?
Mm-hmm.
What's my role and accountability here? And how do I never end up here again?
Yep.
And it was my best teacher. And
but
so,
in the moment, don't you just, I've had a moment like that and I will never forget it. Like now I'm like, wow, did it help me become who I am? And wow, did it open up 10 more sets of eyes and ears than I ever had? And it, you realize that those giant mistakes are what push you forward. But in the moment, it's
They're
the
awful.
most catastrophic, terrifying.
So I think, and this is something that's just like, again, something goes back to my childhood. And I don't know why I was programmed this way. But I remember as a little girl in some different moments that were very painful. And I had somehow the thought process at it as 7 years old thinking, I don't know why this is happening. This really hurts. But somehow in here, there's a gift.
Lesson. There's a gift. Yeah.
I don't know why I had that wisdom at 7. And it just has been. So through going through what I went through with beaming and divorce and all the other moments in life that are very challenging, I have always, even though it sucks horribly, I've always had this view of, even if I don't understand why this is happening, I know that when I get on the other side, it's going to make sense.
Yeah.
And I know that when I get there, I am going to be a better person. There's better everything that waits for me on the other side.
There's a learning in it. I try to tell people now, just after my experiences, sort of like, this is so bad right now. And I'm not going to tell you that it's not. And you have to accept and embrace and hold the bad. You just have to. Because if you don't, it's going to fester and it's going to come out later. But know that it's happening for a reason. And I believe that life makes decisions for you that you very often can't make for yourself. And
I love it's like life isn't happening for you. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you.
Yes.
And I think that being able, it also helps you when you're going through it.
Yeah.
To find the strength to get through it.
Yeah.
And there's not one time, and I don't think anybody would reflect on this, that can't look and just go, no matter how painful something was, there is a gift in it.
Yes.
Right. And we're willing to see it and experience it for that. And I think that's been something that has been part of my, lifeline through more difficult times. And again, like I said, it's been a teacher because it helped me losing beaming also helped me become a better leader. It made me more investable because I had done something really amazing, but also had learned a lot of lessons that as people came in and got behind me for Kroma, that actually became an asset. At first I thought I was a loser and I really, second guessed everything about who I am.
As we do.
Right. And then you realize, oh, quote, the failure was actually kind of a huge asset. So.
I also think like it's funny, and I go back to our G9 summit, but like when you listen to a lot of these women talk and some of the people that I admire most, they've had countless failures. I mean, it was funny. I think this year it was Bobby Brown that's like, oh yeah, after I did Bobby Brown, I had like 3 other things that I started. Haven't heard of them because they failed. Or like, this one because this one's working. But like, it didn't just. So I think it's, everybody at the end of the day is human and no one is an overnight success. And that is why I created Climbing in Heels, because for this exact reason, everyone's path is hard. Some are harder than others, but everyone's is hard. And no one's is the same.
Yeah. And it's part of, it becomes our secret sauce too.
Yeah.
Along the way. Right. And as much as I wish beaming still existed in the way that we had created it, I got to recreate something with just more, I don't know if I can say more intention, but I've expressed myself in a new way through Kroma that still allows me to touch lives, but to do it in a way that I think is just more, I don't know, more relatable, more me, more a lot of things.
Well, Kroma is beautiful. It's beautiful and it's genius and it's chic. And well, it's funny because
that means a lot, so I appreciate that.
I add that because, I think everything should be beautiful. And I think everything that, especially when it comes to doing things for your body and for your health, that I think presentation and the way things look make things more attractive in a way. Like it's sort of like when Kroma arrives at your house, you're like, I know by looking at this, not only do I want it to like sit on my counter because it's pretty. So if you live in like a tiny apartment and you need space saving, it can sit on your counter because it's super pretty. The whole setup and the whole thing and the wheel and that thing, the gold thing, the beautiful, what do you call it?
Or the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing. But also it's delicious and it's not perishable, which to me is such a huge thing. Because as someone who's all over the place and my life is so unpredictable and I never know from a Monday to a Wednesday what's happening, where I'm going, what I'm eating, what I'm doing, I just think the approach to Kroma and the sort of idea behind it, which I want you to speak about, is it's fresh, it's chic, it's easy, which again, you want the work done for you. I don't want to think about it. So I want to talk about Kroma. And I also want to say, like, can't Kroma become beaming? Can't there be Kroma cafes? Can there be Kroma kiosks? Like,
I might have one more in me. No, I think that, and I think there's a lot of possibilities. And I think this is just the beginning for Kroma. And I want to just acknowledge some of the things that you said and starting with just the box and in the presentation of that. And for me, health is something that as a child, I wanted to feel empowered with my health. And my creations, both with Beaming and Kroma, have been about empowering people with their health and doing it in a way that feels sexy and approachable and beautiful and
not scary.
Not scary. I want you to feel like I get to do this.
Yes.
Like this is a gift to myself and that I want to it's craveable. It's approachable, all those things. And so when I started Beaming 2012, the world was a very different, like Era 1 wasn't Era 1, right? Like that, it was one Era 1, right? There wasn't 12. So we've come a long way and there's, the products and the options and the things that we have now is amazing. We still have a long way to go for people really understanding the power that we have over our health. And so for me, it's always been, how can I inspire people through food, help them understand how much power we have over our food, over our health, just by being more mindful of what we eat and drink, but do it in a way that feels like, one, it's got to be easy because we're all too busy. We don't have time. I don't have time. So I create products that I need for me, right? And I hope that everybody else wants them too. And they've got to be portable. It's got to fit this lifestyle that we live that's very fast paced. I think we're all well-intentioned, but people aren't going to spend the time not only making the food or putting these concoctions that I do, but we need it to be easy. And I think that health, I think it needs to taste amazing. So for me, function and flavor have to coexist.
Yes.
That's been a mantra for me since both creations. And that's what we've been known for, is making healthy taste amazing, and something that the whole family actually wants. And that's something that I think we do really, really well. And we'll continue to do. We've got all sorts of new products coming out and I can't wait to launch those. And someday there might even be at the Kroma Cafe. So
very exciting. I could see it. I see it. I see you doing it.
I see it. I think.
Would this be a manifesting?
At this moment?
Not today, but I'm saying that would be, I'm trying to do this manifesting for 2024.
Yeah. Well, I love, yes. And I'm one of those people actually on the manifesting thing. People are like, do you create vision boards? Like, how do you do it? I am one of those people that does exactly what we're doing right now. You put it out in the universe. You just say it.
Universe.
I am not one that like writes it in a journal and creates a vision board.
Someone told me yesterday I had to write it. I'm like, why?
No, but all you have to do is actually believe it can be.
Right.
And believe it could be true. And I'll tell you, I freak the hell out of people, out of things that will happen, that I'll say something and then the next day, like that thing happened.
Same.
It's
for
crazy.
Better or for worse, by the way.
So, it's true.
Sometimes I say things and it's not the best thing, and then it happens. And Roger looks at me, he's like, "You're literally a witch. Stop." Like,
called a witch.
Stop saying that. Stop putting it in the universe.
Let's not say the negative things. Let's
just
focus on
exactly.
Don't say things that are weird, like next year I want to be a billionaire. Like, I don't.
That's dumb.
Like
Sorry, but that's dumb.
It's more things that are like, even like this was true for when I was like raising money for Kroma.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great picture to put. It's 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I have not a dollar to my name
Mm-hmm.
because I've lost Beaming. I haven't rebuilt. I'm now trying to put a new company out to the world.
3 children. Cool.
I literally have no money.
God.
And I've emptied my 401k. I'm trying to raise money at a time where people are trying to figure out how to get toilet paper and food, right? The world is in like just complete disarray.
Truth.
And I am trying to ask people for money. And through that period of time, what I had to do is I had to like really put my manifesting on.
Mm-hmm.
And what I envisioned was what are the kind of people I want to surround myself with? And what I started with was, what if I could raise money from a group of really amazing women
Mm-hmm.
who would, whether it's the celebrities or
Mm-hmm.
it's the powerful businesswoman
Yeah.
that or the mom in the community, but they would be so excited about what we're doing that they would want to help me tell the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so the manifestation I did started with that and this idea that I could bring together a group of amazing people that would want to support me and the vision for Kroma. Then I got really specific. Which I did. And so we have 100 female investors.
Incredible.
Which is so cool.
It's so incredible.
It's so cool. And it's been such a big part, not only in the success of Kroma, because every one of, the people have gotten behind me, and there's some great men too. All of them have been not only champions in helping us tell the world, but I know that I could call upon any one of them if I needed to talk about something or I needed help with something or support with something. And that was the vision. It was not just like people of influence. It was people that would really stand behind me and want to help us be successful and believed in what we were doing in our mission.
And that's the most valuable, in my opinion.
But being very clear about that intention is what allowed, because almost none of the people that ended up investing in Kroma, I did not know. I didn't know Amy Griffin.
Right.
I didn't personally know Gwyneth.
Right.
Or, Naomi Watts or any of the others that got behind me along the way. Candace Nelson, Greg Renfrew,
love.
I didn't know any
all
of
the
these
girls.
Yeah.
Best
and
girls.
The fact that they got behind me is something I don't take lightly, and I'm always in tremendous gratitude. And it's made this fun,
right?
Because
of course,
it's just this theme. The power of women coming together is something that I am so grateful to be part of that energy and sitting here with you and having this conversation and what we can do together.
I think. Listen, I think, and I speak about this a lot because I'm not really shy about the fact that I was not supported by women coming up in my life and in my career, not personally, not professionally. Guys were super nice. Women were not, as a rule. And it was hard. And it was really hard because I would look at women who would pretend to be nice to me and I would just think like, I know you don't want me to win. Like, I know that you're not rooting for me at all. And so it was a huge catalyst for why I started climbing in heels, because I said, I'm not that girl. I'm actually the opposite. And I have such an incredible appreciation for the women that do support me and the women that do show up for me. And I show up for my friends. And it's the thing that I hear the most from the women in my life is how I show up for them. And I'm like, because I understand that is literally the most important thing we do as girlfriends, or even just new friends, even just anyone saying, hey, I love what you're doing. Like, I love what you're doing. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out like what's next. Let's figure out how we can work together. Let's figure out how I can promote you. Like, let's figure that out. And, I think that we've built such a community of women in so many different businesses, but I think collectively, none of us compete with each other. I think we all just root for each other. And that is a new thing for me in my life. And since I've started in business, since I've started with having funds and things like that, and I think it just makes a huge difference. And to your point, I think like feeling supported is worth everything, whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, whether it's personally, whatever that looks like. Because I think as women and working women and single moms and all the things, there are those moments of isolation and feeling alone. And I think when you don't, it's life-changing.
Beautifully said, Rachel. And I want to also just acknowledge and honor that for you, because my experience with you, and I think about you and meeting you this summer, really,
Yeah.
in the Hamptons, it was so instantaneous with you. And I felt so supported by you. You're like, why am I not part of Kroma?
I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, and and I laugh at myself because I'm like, I said to you, I'm not someone that drinks these things. Like,
Yeah. You were so cute about it. And ever since then, I just always felt so supported. So everything that you're saying, I've experienced firsthand. And even though you and I don't necessarily get, a lot of girl time together, I know if I reached out to you
100%.
and asked you for help
Anytime.
or support, you would totally be there for me.
Billion
And
%.
I really want to honor and acknowledge that for you. And I also want to say, I too did not feel supported by women.
Not funny.
And I remember going to SMU, and I was probably super dorky or something, but I didn't make it into sorority. And I remember
I bet you were not dorky. I feel like you were definitely not dorky.
I think I wasn't a girl's girl then. I think I hadn't come into my sense of authenticity and who I am.
You didn't have your voice yet.
Yeah, I didn't have my voice, and I didn't have part
confidence.
Of what makes me is sort of my goofiness, my jump rope, right?
Yep.
Like that's part of who I am. And laughing a lot. And I didn't know necessarily maybe how to that became sort of one of my superpowers is being and goofy and relatable and such. So anyway, there was so many points in life, and even in raising money, the women who turned me down were all the venture, the women-owned venture studios.
I talk about this with a lot of women. Yes.
That was brutal. And so it was the women, the individual angel investors that really got behind me and believed in me at a time where we hadn't launched, we hadn't anything. And it gave me the strength and courage. Like, oh, I'm not alone. They believe in me. They know I can do this. And it just kept feeding it along the way. And it's been a huge part of my fueling me through the harder times as well, because entrepreneurship, as you know, is so hard.
Brutal.
I don't care how many connections you have.
Doesn't matter.
It does not matter. This is so hard.
The most famous, prominent, seemingly successful entrepreneurs I know are crying at home. They are. They just are. It's just the ups, the downs, the triumphs.
Lonely.
Yes. It's.
You asked me if I was in LA, and I was like, no, I haven't left my house in San Diego for days. And I literally haven't left the house, right? And I'm here by myself on Zoom calls all day. And I'm like, but this is just, and then I'll go to next week and I'll be around people again. But it's lonely. And yet at the same time, I'm always focused on again, the gratitude of what I get to do, the lives that we're changing, the impact we're making, how I'm growing as a leader, the team, and how we're coming together, and then the different interactions and opportunities that I get to be part of.
And you should be so proud of the product. You should be so proud of the product. And I think, for my listeners, I think anyone who hasn't heard of Kroma, which is funny because almost everyone I've mentioned it to, they're like, oh, Kroma, I love Kroma. Oh my God, I love, that's the kind of the immediate reaction, which is really interesting because it's very new still, in my opinion. And I think typically they're like, Kroma, what's Kroma? Oh my God, I love Kroma, so it's like, it's a great thing. And I think, listen, I think wellness, as you know, it's trendy, it's saturated, it's all the things, but Kroma really stands out, I think, in a very unique way. And I think, as you said, it's a great gift for yourself, and I look at it, I know there's cleanses and resets and the whole thing, but I also look at it as you can have Kroma every day. You can have the snacks and you can have the things, and it's I think you can create Kroma in a way that it works for you.
That's the design of it. I mean, since I've been with Beaming and with this, cleansing is what we think we want, detoxing, whatever it is, right? And I've always looked at it from more of a place of how can I get back in my body, feel good, take control, because we all lose control. And we just come out from the holidays right now too, right?
This is the time
to be enjoyed. And I love food and I love good tequila or wine or whatever it might be. So about finding the balance for you, but the real transformation happens in the everyday choices. And so while we have the reset, we're not a cleanse company. We have it is truly a reset.
Right.
It's just really healthy food. You're highly nourished. I don't believe in starvation and deprivation. So
No.
for most people, it's more food than they can eat,
Right.
which is contradictory to cleansing.
Better
right?
though. Better, because I think you get men that way too.
The men love it. Obviously, it's portable.
Can't starve men. You just can't.
No,
You just can't starve men.
Oh, by the way, you can customize it and add what you need. So
Right.
if you had a big workout, because I want you to work out,
Right.
I think different than like the other cleanses where you have to shut your life down because you can't think, you're grumpy as hell, you're a raving bitch.
Oh my God. I'm not going to mention names, but I have friends that like, I'll be like, let's meet at dinner. Let's meet at Sunset Tower. And they're like, I can't, I'm not eating. I'm cleansing. I'm so hungry. I have a headache. I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Why are we doing this? And
I don't
there's
believe in that.
especially as parents, like what are we teaching our children, especially our daughters?
Totally. Yeah, of course.
And then the other that I really has been a strong principle for me is I really believe, like, especially if, like, I want women to realize we don't have to starve ourselves to look and feel good in our bodies. And I think Kroma, by just the pure design of it, in that there's so much food and it's superfoods and adaptogens and all these healthy things, but it's very, very culinary.
Yeah.
It's 3 years making these products with my daughter and formulating with Dr. Will Cole and putting that influence in there. But like for me, it had to be the best of the best so that you crave it and that you want it. And I always say I care more about what happens after the reset because
Sure.
the resets, that's the awakening.
Right.
That's where you get back in your body. You're like, okay, now I feel like me again. Wow,
Mhm.
I haven't felt this good in so long. I didn't deprive myself. My workouts were better than ever. I wasn't a raving bitch. In fact, I slept better. My mind was turned on. And now I have all the favorite products, whether it's the beauty matcha or the porridge or the bone broth or the cranberry elixir, which I'm drinking right now, whatever it is, you have them to keep, incorporating every day. Cause that's when we take control of our health.
I love the matcha.
And
I love
matcha.
with the other one, turmeric.
The golden milk.
Love that one. Love that. Oh my God. It's so
live
good.
on this. I live on it because
good.
I love it and it makes me feel good, but I actually really, really, really love it. And I think that that's how health can be. And I've never looked at it from a place of like a fad or a trend.
Right.
It really goes back to me being a little girl saying, I want to feel empowered with my health. And my life mission has become helping others do the same.
Lisa, I love having you.
I love being here.
I love having you. You're such a badass. I love your energy. I loved meeting you this summer. I was like immediately connected. I felt like I think we hugged. I think it wasn't like a, hey, nice to meet you. It was like I think we're supposed to hug because you're so
It was
cute.
the best. It was. I mean, I felt so welcomed by you and it was so fun.
Now I feel like I have to, like, I almost think in your next Kroma packaging reset, you have to put a jump rope. I do. I swear. I think you have to do like a chic jump rope with like little golden handles that that wraps up and be like, this is how I started. This was my path to my like finding happiness in my body. So like do this with your reset and like.
Okay, I think you and I need to do some masterminding around this.
Well, thanks for being on. This was so much fun. I love talking to you. Now you're making me want to go eat the like butter.
Cookie butter? Yeah.
Like talking to you, I'm like, wait, should we go have some like oats? Or like...
I think I might have a bite of that right now too.
Okay.
This was so much fun.
So much fun. I love what you're doing. I'm so happy that we can do so many things together.
And we'll do a lot of cool things this year.
So many
together.
things. I love it. All right. Well, have a beautiful day. And let me know when you're coming up to LA and we can have a drink.
I love that.
It's that time in the show when I answer 2 listener questions. So let's see what we have today. If you're going to be shopping, what is your favorite department store to be in? That's a really good question, actually. It has a really easy answer. Bergdorf Goodman, which I don't know if it qualifies as a department store. It does because it's multi-category and all that, but there's only one. So it used to be Barney's. Rest in peace, Barney's. Before that, it was Jeffrey's. Rest in peace, Jeffrey's. Yeah, so I would say Bergdorf Goodman. I'm not a huge department store person. Certainly when I'm in Europe, I mean Harrods and like Selfridges are just epically amazing. Europe, certainly London and Paris really know how to do a department store like everything else. Okay, do your boys bicker more with you or your husband? Oh, with my husband, for sure. I rarely fight. I mean, I think the things I get strong on, like screen time, if they've had too much screen time, too much Fortnite, stuff like that. But other than that, I'm pretty chill with them. But I get strong. I would say my voice gets stronger. And Caius definitely doesn't like when my voice gets stronger. But I would say they definitely bicker more with Roger because he has less patience than I do. Okay, don't forget to submit your questions for next week's episode. All you have to do is DM us your questions to @ClimbingInHeelsPod on Instagram, and I might just answer your questions. Thank you so much to Lisa for being on the pod today. Her Kroma products are so good. I'm a huge fan, and I'm not shy about the fact that I'm not someone that sort of does a lot of cleanses or resets or drinks green juice or any of that. And I'm obsessed with her products. They're so good. Even if you just want to keep it in your pantry and just like you feel like you want something that feels good. And, her turmeric lattes, her matcha lattes, like they're so good. And the oatmeal and the cookie butters. And, anyone who tries them loves them. The presentation of the product is beautiful. She really does the work for you, and it really just feels really good. I'm so inspired by her story. Truthfully, I think, a lot of the women that I've had on Climbing in Heels were raised by single mothers. And I think anyone listening knows that whether you are a single mother, had a single mother, have friends that are single mothers or siblings, it is one of the hardest jobs and incredibly hard and incredibly lonely and incredibly scary very often. And I think the fact that she has started 2 businesses under pretty tenuous circumstances on very little money in very scary times and being a mom to 3 kids, it's really a testament, I think, to her work ethic and her ambition. So I've really enjoyed this episode. I'm so inspired by her story, and I hope you are too. Try Kroma. It's so good. You will love it. Don't forget to write a review wherever you get your podcasts. I love reading them. And while you're at it, follow me on @RachelZoe and @ClimbingInHeelsPod on Instagram for more updates on upcoming guests, episodes, and all things CURATEUR. I'll see you next week. Mwah.